and see who's running cold and who's on thin ice. Greg Raymer is first to act tonight.
Got a really good bottle of that's not champagne.
This is Dave 10 and holds. Dave took second in the main event here this week at Rivers.
Napa Valley. It's made by Tangiers.
Oh yeah, Revel.
Yeah, R-E-V-E-L.
How much does it go for?
It's only $90 a bottle, but it's as good as Tangiers Blanc de Blanc.
Nice. I'd like to try it. I
They
think
won't
I've
let
only
me
had
open
like,
it.
I've only had like $6 champagne probably.
Oh.
See, if I did drink, I would probably be the kind of guy that would drink the $2 Chuck.
From the top wine.
That would probably be what I'd drink if I did. I'm naturally cheap. Or maybe it was the way I was raised. But you would always get the question after winning the main event, what did you splurge on? What was your big splurge?
So what was it?
Well, I used to have this different watch. This was a gift a few years later.
Oh, yeah, you told
I'd be
that
like,
story
oh,
in
well,
St.
my
Louis.
wife told me, you know, like because my wedding ring's gold and the bracelet is platinum, I need a two-tone watch. And then we were at the WPT in Paris that summer, and we were out shopping, and it's like, oh, here's a watch store that has like a sale. Let's go check it out. And I bought a watch. And then I'll show it to the reporter, and they'd be like, ooh, well, that is really nice. What'd you pay for that? And I said, 80. I could see that being 80,000. Yeah, I'm like, no, 80. $80. But it's hilarious how many times they'd be like, yeah, that's such a nice watch. I could see that being 80,000.
You couldn't pay me to wear a watch.
Well, I mean, see, I'm a lot older than you, and there were no cell phones when I was...
No, yeah, of course.
And I needed to learn
I'm a
how
lot
to
older
keep
than you.
time.
Yeah,
I needed to learn how to keep time. I have no sense of time.
Neither do
So I got used to wearing a watch.
Yeah, I used to wear a watch when I was in high school.
I mean, I almost never wear this bracelet because I don't find it comfortable to wear jewelry, but I got used to the watch.
You look good at.
And I got used to the wedding ring because that was also not a choice.
It's a circle of love. No beginning, no end.
Eternal.
Eternal.
That's the buzzword.
Yeah.
No beginning and no end sounds kind of dark.
Eternal sounds like bull to me anyway.
Well,
You're not married, Larry?
It's a circle. Of course I'm married.
Of course. I don't know if I'm married. I just always assumed I would at some point, but now I'm really not so sure.
So Dave, considering whether or not this draw is worth it, he does sit on the pair of 10s. Look at this. He's going to raise to 2750. This pot is getting huge. $9,100 in the middle as we go to the river, and Nick is ahead with 2 queens. And the river is another 4. Nick is checked. Now over to Dave. And he is all in for $15,000.
You just joined the game that's been going on for hours, and now you get to face the toughest decision anyone's had to face the entire day.
You went all in.
It's a lot easier to go all in than it is to call all in.
Yeah, I know. Of course.
And it looks like pocket queens are going to the middle. What a play and what a huge pot to start the night for Dave Eldridge. I guarantee as Nick is watching this on Poker Night in America, he is not going to be happy that he had to fold those 2 queens there, knowing that he had a huge favorite on the flop, turn, and had the winning hand on the river.
What's going on?
You're the big guy.
And Nick
I'm
is
the
right
big
back
guy.
at it with kings. Over to Joe Cada, a couple of World Series of Poker main event champs sitting at this table tonight at Rivers.
Did you eat too much dinner, Joe? You seem tired instead of energized.
What? He came back firing after the last time he ate. 3-bet.
50 to go.
Gotta switch it up, you
And a
know?
call from Nick. I guarantee most players there are going to re-raise with pocket kings. Nick may be feeling a little snake bit after that last hand.
And also, no one's really folded to one, so that might have something to do with it.
And here's the flop. It's 5-8 deuce. Ormson misses. But Larry's still going to bet like he's got something. 600 is the bet.
Someone just tweeted yesterday or something like they're guessing he might be up more lifetime from prop betting than from poker.
Who? Tonio?
He gets
Yeah.
1,300.
And there is a raise from Nick to 1,300. Larry does call, and once again, Nick getting involved in a big pot here. This one approaching almost $4,000 in cash.
But the secret is he always, he uses the same questions over and over. So he knows
Now
what
Larry picks up a gut shot straight draw. He's first.
He's just good at
No, he is good.
reading people and making use of all available information.
Yeah.
I saw him start to play that game once in the PCA several years ago, and they were using Beth Shack. The second question was, how many unique women lifetime do you think Gus Hansen has slept with? And they were getting ready to start the bidding or something, and she like leaned to the guy next to her to whisper, like she was like telling him her number. And then he was just like, he's like, okay, like you guys are wasting your time.
20 some hundred.
You know, and they were like, so they like, okay, no action. Like, what's her number? It was like 1,200 or something. Like not, 1,200 unique different women lifetime. I'm like,
They're pretty tough.
21, 25.
Gotta have a set, I guess.
And Larry will fold, and so Nick's gonna get some of the money back that he lost in that first hand.
Did you bluff them?
I might have.
I tell you what, it's gonna be a long night if Nick's gonna have to continue to battle with big cards like he's got against very aggressive players.
Must be something about him. All these all-in pots already.
When we come back, we've got more poker from the Rivers here in Pittsburgh. Back to the felt here at the Rivers. Blinds are 25 and 50 with a $5,000 minimum buy-in. A couple of world champs joining us tonight at the Rivers here in Pittsburgh, including this man. He is Greg Raymer, and he folds, and the other there is Joe Cada, World Series of Poker main event champions.
I have a very wide head. I just bought new glasses recently, and I could only like try on a small percentage of what was in the store.
They don't let you try on the smaller ones?
Well, no, I mean, I could try them on, but I'd be wasting my time.
Yeah.
It's not that they refused it. I just, why bother? There's actually a line of glasses called Fatheads that is exactly that, for people who have really wide heads.
Really?
Ace-King is a fairy tale type of hand when you're on the straddle and there's raises that have come to you in position. We're back to Dave. Dave is re-raising from the button to 2850.
Oh, and especially not now.
And now we're back to Larry. Larry, a great cash game player and tournament player for that matter, but not afraid of these limits is Larry Ormson, that's for sure. And here's the flop. It's deuce, 10, 4. Bet first and win this $6,300 pot, I have a feeling. Larry checks. Dave bets 2,200. And now to Larry. And Larry's gonna fold. And the continued success at this table for Dave Eldridge. Ace-King, a very easy hand to fall in love with pre-flop, but once you miss on the flop and someone bets into you, pretty much worthless at that point.
It's like, because when they don't fold and now you have to draw 4 cards.
Raised to 150 from Nick.
It's just a really tough thing to overcome when you got to draw 3 or 4 or 5 cards.
We're up to Dan O'Brien, poker pro from Las Vegas, flying cross country. Come and join us here
Actually got pretty
in
unlucky
Pittsburgh.
In that hand, deuce 7-8, where you 3-bet the flop.
Jack calls with a pair of
I
nines.
imagine you had
And now to Larry.
or something. And Dan, I had aces.
There's got queen 5. I fully expect him to call out of the big blind. But he folds. Maybe Larry now is the one who's thinking he's a little on the snake bit side, and I'm gonna maybe sit one out.
1,600 was like such a big bet back then. Yeah. No, it's loosened up a little now at 1,600. Not that there's a ton of 1,600.
And here's the flop. 8, 5, deuce.
That's what I hated about like I'm like I just feel like if he has like ace-king, ace-queen or something like
They
that. he's
both
just
check,
like,
so
shut
here
down.
comes the turn. 7. Jack's 9s are still ahead.
If he doesn't have anything, he's not going to bet because it's so obvious that I flatted a 4. So if he did have like those type hands, then he would call, and if he had bluffs, that he would just shut down. Kind of wish I did call though.
And the river is a 10, and wow, Nick's pair of 8s turned into now 2 pair on the river, 10s over 8s.
Wish I would bet smaller against you too.
I want the river.
The turn.
Oh, there.
Probably might not have
Seemed like you had a pretty good hand.
$2,050.
Anyone have any Tylenol?
Sorry, bud.
Tylenol?
I definitely don't have Tylenol. I may have ibuprofen
I have a
if I look
Tylenol.
in my bag.
Yeah, I'd take anything.
Do you have a Tylenol?
No, I
Want a
don't think I
Tylenol?
do. Yeah, please. If you don't
Oh, I
mind.
have one.
Don't look at me.
Wow, Jack calls. I'm kind of surprised. Obviously thinking Nick was putting the move on, and Nick wins a big $5,000 pot.
What are my folds giving you a headache?
You like free stuff? I'm betting you said yes. Hey, it's Chris Hansen. We have a brand new free app, a poker app, the Poker Night in America downloadable app. You can find it in your app store. The links are in the descriptions below. We're always giving free stuff away on the app. You can play against people from all over the world. So what are you waiting for? My mother would appreciate it if you would download our new app today. Cash game. Greg Raymer will get us started in this hand. He looks down at pocket jacks. Greg Raymer is the 2004 WSOP main event champ. And this is Joe Cada getting involved. Joe was the 2009 WSOP main event champion. Interesting play from Raymer to just call under the gun there with pocket jacks. He was looking for somebody to do exactly what Jack Schanbacher just did, raise with king queen. He makes it 350. Oh, a lot of big cards around this table. Ace queen for Larry. He calls from the small blind. Nick folds his big blind, and now back to Raymer. And Greg Raymer surprisingly just calling with pocket jacks, deciding to play him small, but when he calls, that's going to bring a bunch of players right along with him. Joe Cada calls, and now to Dan. I assume he's calling with pocket sevens.
That'd be like the sickest race ever. Seriously. His head would be spinning.
It wouldn't work no matter what I had.
Raymer's jacks are in the lead. Flop is 8, queen, deuce, and a couple of players out-flop Greg Raymer, and Joe Cada picks up a pretty nice draw. He's got a pair of deuces and the nut flush draw.
Four checks.
So let's sit back and see how this gets played.
Still here for you.
Jack's king queen is worth $775, and now to Larry. Larry raises to 2,200. Raymer's jacks go to the muck. And now to Joe. Small pair, flush draw. Re-raise from the world champ to 5,300.
53.
Jack's got to be thinking, yeah, I'm beat for sure.
I got no choice, all in.
All in.
But Larry's going all in. All right, so here we go. Larry is ahead, but there are plenty of outs for Joe Cada. Any deuce or any spade would work just fine. Turn is a 5.
Brick it for me.
Dealer, can we see the river card, please?
And the river, it is a 9 of clubs, and Larry Ormson is going to double up through Joe Cada and win a $12,000 pot.
You ever heard of that guy, Archie Karras? He went on some huge rush, starting off with like, I forget, it wasn't a lot, 500 or 5,000
I
or
heard,
something. And he ran it up to like $26 million.
25 million.
yeah, they said like 40 plus, but I was talking to Barry Greenstein, we didn't get to hear the full story because we parted ways, but he started to tell us like his version of the story of Archie Karras. But he said it wasn't anywhere near 40, but he got, I think, at least like 15 or 20 million.
I bet it's 25
I've
million.
usually
they
heard
said.
like that, like 25,
The casino
26.
came out with 25 mil.
You know, those are the stories I've usually heard about him. He started off doing a lot of it with poker, actually. They supposedly heads up Raz.
Yeah.
Was some of the stuff he won early, but then he
ran
couldn't
like a
find
few
anyone who
thousand
would play
to like
poker with
20
him,
million
so
in
he started doing like
couple months.
baccarat and
Playing
blackjack and stuff and
various
craps.
games, yeah.
And just went on like a 4-year rush. And
Nice
built it
little
up
heater.
to like the 26 million, and then his rush turned around and he lost it all in like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, he was like apparently just like a total, you know, psycho. Degen.
I played.
And apparently he was like, you know, I think maybe some of it was straight, but not all of it was straight. He was like,
no, I
he
wouldn't
was like
be
known,
shocked.
according to some of the stories I've heard, he was known that he marked cards, but he was like so bad that people would just like let him in the game anyway and just like try to like watch him, make sure. But then he just got caught marking cards in San Diego and got arrested.
Well, that wasn't poker, right? Wasn't that like a
Blackjack,
pit game?
I think, or
something?
baccarat, something like that.
But in 2006, it was still like one bracelet event a day at the series. It was still just the Amazon roam. So, I mean, when you get knocked out, you would often have lots of extra time, so more cash game play. And we had a game going like every day. It would start 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon after enough people got knocked out, and playing 400, 800 BOT. And then all of a sudden I show up one day and it's BRT, it's Raz instead, because Archie wanted in the game, but he wanted Raz.
Right.
And so that's the only time I've ever played poker with him, and he was just awful.
Dealer, can we see the turn card, please?
You know,
I've played some interesting Raz games, which sounds like a oxymoron, but some pretty good games.
well, I mean, he wasn't horrible at Raz, but he was really bad at the B and the T.
Yeah. I played a 50-50 Raz triple draw game in LA. It's pretty big. Some real characters in the game.
Cada continues to push. 850 is the bet.
You know, live at the bike. It's like, 4:05. They'd like, oh, you know, I was in town in LA, and they're like, can you come like either play or commentate? And I'm like, sure, I'll do both. So they had me like play in the game for like an hour or two, and then I commentated for a couple hours. And before I had started the whole process, they
Larry
were playing
raises
300.
and quickly Joe folds.
Got there.
Things started out rough for Larry Ormson at the beginning, but he has made a nice comeback here in the last couple of hands.
Hey, if you like this video from season whatever from Poker Night in America, there are at least 41 other seasons, and we've got every episode here on our page at your disposal. Go to town, but make sure you hit like and subscribe.